Hey there, it's another beautiful day and I've got my coffee. Let's watch some stuff.
So if you look back through history, you'll see these strange antennas everywhere. You'll see these people in the horse and carts, and then up on the buildings, you'll see numerous antennas in many cases, just like these, that look like they might interact with the energy of the earth. We have some very peculiar things. A statue and a lightning rod. Then we have this thing up here. Strange spiral design. But it's pretty much in every city. You'll see the same thing. I mean, how did people build such massive buildings to begin with? But fact is, there's just these weird things. How many of these lightning rods do you need? It's just a little weird, you know, to say that, oh, these are all ornamental. I mean, what about this on top? This grid structure with all these wires. I'm guessing they had to run wires across all the rooftops because they can't congest the streets. How did they do this? There's a lot of photos that'll just leave you scratching your head.
I've said time and time again that those structures were built by a far advanced civilization than we're being led to believe. But I want to know what you think. Do you think that those are ancient structures from previous civilizations, or do you think that there was electricity, free electricity, which was much more sustainable than what we have now? And now it's just being monetized. So let me know what you think down in the comments. And yeah. Hey, I just wanted to take a second and thank you so much for joining me for today's coffee talk. If you're having a good time, maybe you consider hitting the subscribe button and come back tomorrow because I'm making a new video every day.
This is real crazy. This is an object orbiting the planet, which was detected in the late 1800s by Nikola Tesla first. He picked up a signal from it. It is giving off a signal that has been decoded as being the Epsilon Boötis constellation. The big deal about that is it's giving the location of the constellation where it was in the sky 13,000 years ago. And this looks like a Type 1, Type 2 civilization that's cloaked in Epsilon. It was changing its own orbits. It was in a first equatorial orbit, then it went to a polar orbit. This thing is under intelligent control. It's about 15,000 tons. And so what happened was the United States saw it up there, Russia saw it up there. Russia thought it was us, we thought it was Russia. We both said, wait a minute, we can't launch nothing like this. We don't even have this kind of technology. They're afraid to touch it, they're afraid to move into it. They don't know if it's gonna have a defense mechanism or whatever. When Sputnik was launched in 1964, it followed Sputnik to the moon. So they really started looking at this thing and analyzing it. And we finally got a chance to see it close up personal with STS missions, actually on the space agency servers.
This Black Knight satellite is my newest rabbit hole. It is so intriguing. There's so many cool things that I'm learning about it so far, and I'm going to share them all with you as they come up.
This is a government cover-up going all the way back to the era before Christ. The word Sibyl means wise woman. This particular Sibyl was in a town called Cumae around Mount Vesuvius. So there were all these volcanic gases. There is a psychedelic chemical that comes from volcanic gas called ethylene. You really trip out on ethylene. She'd go into this crazy, funky state of consciousness, and she would write down prophecies on leaves and then leave them at the front of the caves. She created a series of books, and she tried to present them to the king of Rome at the time, but she wanted an exorbitant amount of money. He said, no freaking way. And now the priests are begging him, please, her prophecies are incredible. So he actually paid for it. It turns out that it accurately predicts all kinds of things that happen in Roman history. But the most important thing is that the prophecies continued beyond where we are right now, and they predict extraterrestrials coming back to Earth, and they predict a spontaneous quantum metamorphosis of what it means to be human. Now remember,
I especially like the part where he said the aliens come back. I mean, they're here. I believe that they're here right now. Maybe their presence is just going to be known, or maybe he's talking about the Anunnaki, like they're going to come back because Nibiru is supposed to be making its return, right? So, like when they were here last time and they diddled around with our ancestors, the Neanderthal, maybe that's what they're going to do. They're going to come down and they're going to mess around with the species now. They're going to knock up some women's and have some alien babies. It's going to be a new generation. It's going to be a new evolution of human beings. Yeah, I don't know. But that's what was prophesized. So they're going to come back. and they're going to change what it means to be a human being. So maybe, yeah.
Presented us with two gifts. One was a automatic translator that we could type into, and we could see their language on it, and they could see our language, and they could communicate that way. They brought those with them. They also presented us with a gift to the people of Earth called the Yellow Book.
Yes.
The Yellow Book was an amazing piece of technology that wasn't really a book. It was maybe, it looked like a book, but really as you opened it, images sprang out of it, holographic images of what you were looking at, and giving you pictures that were of historical significance going back to 2000 BC.
I loved the description of this. And this particular piece of technology, does it exist today? Does the military still have?
Yes, they have it, of course.
And does it show into the future as well, or only the past?
As far as I know, it just discussed the past.
That sounds just like a history book. Unless it goes like previous civilizations, like before resets and stuff, because we supposedly had like 6 of them that we know of, right? So that'd be pretty cool. Does anybody know about this? Does it go farther back than just our civilization? Because that's neat.
Today I'm going to give you more concrete evidence that the hidden empire of Tartaria existed. If you don't know what the highly advanced Tartarian Empire is, I made a bunch of videos about it, so go check it out and then come back to this video. Now, this empire built insanely high-tech structures and technologies, and you can find evidence for this throughout the world. In Europe, much of Russia, even into the Americas. These buildings were absolutely insane and high-tech, and they have these interesting-looking antennas on top. I'm having a hard time believing that primitive horse and buggy people built these grand palaces and other structures. Now, the interesting antennas on top, it wasn't just for decoration, it had a functionality to it. Now, the idea is that this empire was so advanced that when they built their structures, they had these antennas and domes on top. And the functionality is to harness free energy from the ether. Now, harnessing free energy from the ether is not that crazy of an idea. Now, Tesla himself believed in free energy, and he believed that you can harness free energy from the ether. He even tried to develop these Tesla towers, but he never finished. And the idea is that Tesla never invented anything, but he just rediscovered what already existed. So these metallic dome-like structures with antennas and cross-looking things on top had a functionality to them that we're not taught about in school. Now, question is, what happened to this empire? Well, there's some type of evidence that some kind of cataclysm happened in our past and not too distant past, possibly even the 1800s. If you look at a lot of old world structures, you will see windows buried in the ground, and these are not basements. These windows are just ground level.
Историческое здание в городе, в центре Иркутска. 2-3 этажа, да, хлоп видим. Тут хлоп выкопали, да, уровень земли вот. И тут хлоп, так смотрим, дверь.
Now, to translate, that man was basically saying, as they're digging under this old world building, they don't find a foundation, they find more building, more levels, more rooms. And as he's digging below ground level, he finds doorways buried. There's even literature talking about the Empire of Tartaria. This is a poem by Walter Delamere called Tartary. If I were lord of Tartary, myself and me alone, my bed should be of ivory, of beaten gold my throne, and in my court shall peacocks flaunt, and in my forest tigers haunt, and in my pools great fishes slaunt, their fins athwart the sun. Interesting poem. Now, one of the most concrete evidence that this empire existed was shown to me by one of you guys. So one of my followers told me she had this old Webster's dictionary that was from the 1920s, and I'm going to tag her down below. Before I start, I just want to say thank you for this information, because this made my day. What's interesting about this old world dictionary is it shows evidence that the Tartarian Empire existed. Here's a definition of a Tartar, a native of Tartary. But today we're told that Tartaria is just a fictional empire. Yet this old dictionary talks about natives of Tartary. Looking through this dictionary shows pictures of inventions. For example, a wireless telephone set and an electric washing machine. I believe a lot of these inventions are a lot older than we think. Here's some extra proof. This is a 17th century table of flags from England, showing a Tartarian Empire flags along with other countries' flags. It's also on old.
There is an overwhelming amount of proof that points towards advancement beyond what we're being led to believe. There's no way that those buildings, those structures could have been constructed with just mere hand tools. The precision, the weight, the materials necessary. It's so hard to believe that there was no electric tools or other means by which to transport these materials. And when they're digging up these buildings, for crying out loud, the Tartarian Empire had to have existed. I don't understand why this past technology needs to be forgotten, just wiped away. I mean, probably just because it's not profitable, or it wasn't profitable at the time, right? That sounds about right.
Major corporations are gaslighting us, trying to make us believe that what we are seeing is not real, that shrinkflation is not a real thing, or what some people call it, a stealth price rise. Shrinkflation is very real, and this is not the only company who has done it. By the way, their reasoning behind making the bottle look like this was not to change the prices. It was not to give you less. It was to make them more aerodynamic. Doritos used to be 9.75 ounces, 9.25 ounces now, same price. I think we all know cereal is doing it, and they've done it for a very long time. General Mills shrunk the family size boxes from 19.3 ounces to 18.1 ounces. That's like 10%. Cocoa Pebbles went from 20.5 to 19.5. Life cereal went from 24.8 to 22.3. Bounty changed the number of sheets that you get from 165 to 147. Just look. 52 fluid ounces used to be 59. And do you know, these look the same. Do you know why that is? It's because they hollow out a thing so that the plastic is coming up on the bottom like that. So that it looks the same, so that you can't tell. Pringles, look at the difference. Look at that chip. Look at that chip. They had to change the packaging because the chips got smaller. And you know how the chips fit right in the thing. Not only that, but they start about here. Hang on, I'll show you a picture. Look. Great Value toilet paper reduced the number of sheets from 168 down to 120 and also changed the sheet size. This one is my favorite. They just like stop putting stuff there and just create like a blank space. Also, yeah, it's not just gum, it's not just food products, it's not just your laundry detergent and your chips and snacky things. Less inside Oreos, the stuffing, they're actually putting less stuffing in. Look at this, look at what they do with the packaging. They put like a cookie-shaped piece of plastic there so that they only have 2 there instead of 3 to give you less. This one's hard to see, so stay with me. This one up here says mega pack up there, right? And then down here, it's measuring in milliliters, 2490 milliliters. This one, on this side, doesn't say mega pack. It is not the larger, more included pack, and it is 3 liters. There is more in this package that is shorter. See, it's shorter. This one is taller and skinnier, and they're acting as though it has more in it. And they changed the measurement so that people have to do math in the market. This is mostly because people just don't want to. There's too many other things going on, and if they can mentally exhaust us, well, we're already mentally exhausted by all of the inflation and other things that are going on, they win because we just have to get the laundry detergent in the end, don't we? Honestly, I could keep going. Like, there's so many. They'll do something new size, like new packaging, and it's actually a smaller 300 grams, 250 grams. I could do this all day. Also this. Oh, look at this. Bigger size, better value, right? Oh, 18 fluid ounces versus 15 fluid ounces. But this is a bigger size, better value. Here's a great example. This is one of my favorites where you can see over time. Wow. Very illustrative. This is not new. It is probably also not going away, but there is a bill that is now on the floor about it. So that's new. And it was also discussed on the State of the Union address by President Biden. So at least this is something we can start paying attention to as maybe a way of changing things.
We're seeing this crap more and more every single day. And what was it, like a week or 2 ago, President Biden gave his State of the Union address, and I think this is the 2nd year in a row that he said we're going to address shrinkflation. It's not going to happen anymore. Lies. Whatever. It's still happening. I just bought a 6-pack of vitamin water for my daughter, and I remember a year ago buying them, and it was the 20-ounce bottles, and now it's like 16.7 ounces, and it's the same price. It's crazy. It's stupid. It never stops, and it just keeps going because everybody needs to make more and more for what they're doing. That being said, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate your time, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Here's my cutting room floor.
3, 2, 1.
Hello, and welcome. Just kidding. Hey there. Oh, I dumped it on myself again. God dang it. That sounds so sick. So apparently whenever this thing wiggles at all, it makes a lot of noise. Unfortunately, I have a serious fidgety problem, but I got the other one, so it's a little better. I've said time and time again that I believe the theory. This Black Hawk satellite, Hawk. It's Hawk. It's Black Hawk. Okay, YouTube, take it easy. This Black Hawk satellite, Black Hawk. Got to be careful saying those words. Is my newest wormhole. It's not a wormhole. It's a rabbit hole. Did you catch it? Did you catch how much I wasn't paying attention? It's not called the Black Hawk satellite. It's the Black Knight satellite. I just heard about it last night. Yeah, I know. I don't hear about things for a very long time. I don't know about very much stuff. I wonder if it's going to be like when the Anunnaki came and they messed around, knock up the women's, fiddled around with the Neanderthal. That sounds like a history book. Because if it only does the past. Houses, even in the houses. There's houses in California that are like 1,400 square feet and they're over $500,000. It's insane. I guess we just have to friggin' deal with it, right?